What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of the Cutting Board Ranked. Of course, the assassin nature's in the air, but before we get into any of that, I'm joined by John Hanson. Why don't you say what's up?
What's up?
So, I figured you were the person I shall call upon to help me decipher here what's the best and what is the worst Assassin's Creed games of all time. We got every game here, from 1 to Mirage. We're covering it all. And I think in the last episode, you mentioned your favorite assassin is Cassandra, if I'm not mistaken. Mine is Ezio, and we're going to run through all their games. So I think the proper way to start this, we're starting off with the S tier: stunning, A for amazing, good game, B for middle of the pack, C playable, you shed a tear a little bit, and then D is trash. Now, we're going to start with Assassin's Creed 1, the first one. And I am going to go out on a limb and say it is a good game.
Really? Okay. I think that's giving it a little too much credit, honestly. I think it is an incredibly flawed game that is not very fun. Obviously, they were starting out, and we know how well they made things down the line. Like, they vastly improved in the sequel. We'll get to that here in a little bit.
Yes.
But the first game, it's not that good to me. If I personally would put it in trash, but I could see an argument for playable because it's just kind of fine. I just don't think it has many qualities at all, really.
I see that, and that's why I started with B. C, I can give it only for the fact I do agree this game has a lot of flaws and is basic on the surface. And I did say in our episode talking about Shadows, Altair, he's there. He's a dude.
Yeah.
Mysterious dude. So for the sake, I'll put it in C. We're good.
That sounds good.
Now, I'm very interested to see where you put this one. Assassin's Creed 2. We're going...
Assassin's Creed 2 is an easy S tier game.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're right there. We're right there.
Do you disagree? Okay.
No. Ezio is my favorite.
Yeah.
This is the game, in games, in any game in history, you have those games where you remember where you were, what you were doing, what you were experiencing, and this is one of those games where it's like, all right, I remember everything about this playthrough. I remember seeing Ezio for the first time, the different unlocks in that game. I can go on about Assassin's Creed 2, but what are your thoughts on this game?
Oh, it's amazing. Like I said, I never actually finished Assassin's Creed 1 because I was so bored. I was not having a good time with the game at all. I got maybe half of the way through, and it was just a slog to play. So it put me off even trying Assassin's Creed for a while. I got to Assassin's Creed 2 a couple years after it launched because one of my friends was just like, no, you have to give this game a try. And I was like, okay, fine. And I did it. And I was just blown away. Ezio is such a good character. The gameplay was vastly improved. All the gadgets he has and everything. No, Assassin's Creed 2 is an amazing game.
The double blades too. I think that that's a moment where your mind is blown. You're like,
double assassinations made their debut here. Yeah.
In this game, were you able to counter and actually fight with the double blades, or is that in, I want to say, Brotherhood?
It might have been Brotherhood, but it could have been in 2 as well. It's been a while.
Because that is where things picked up for me. But
yeah, no, this game is amazing. It's not perfect. There are some down spots, like all of the Leonardo da Vinci missions are just not good. In the tank and the flying machine, those levels suck. You might as well be playing a shitty Grand Theft Auto campaign mission at that point. They're just not good. But when you're playing as Ezio going through, where was he at in this game? Was it Florence? I want to say. Um, when you're going through Florence, it's just so good.
Yeah, the verticality again. Going from 1 to 2 is the most jarring, at least from what I'm looking at this list. It's just, again, the verticality of Florence, that was a big deal. And just, I remember going out into that world, I'm like, wow, like this is peak Assassin's Creed. Now, moving on to Assassin's Creed 3. This is the game with Connor. I'm surprised I remember these people's names. There's so many of them. But I'll give this one to you. You got this.
Oh, okay. So I liked Assassin's Creed 3 when it first came out. I remember playing it. I had just started college, and there was a lot of times where I like spent all night just staying up and grinding through it, and then skipping class because I was so tired, being a stupid kid like I was. But it was never really that amazing. It's, at the very least, it's playable. Yeah. It could be a B tier. It's really in between. I would definitely put it ahead of Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For now, I'd probably put it in C, because you have the 2-hour startup with Haytham that was just... the entire time I was just like, let me play the guy I came here to play as.
Exactly.
Playing as Connor is pretty cool in the fact that you're a Native American and you like go through and you like jump between trees and everything. Yeah. But the main thing I love about Assassin's Creed is like climbing big buildings and like very dense populations, and there's just not that many, because you're in the Revolutionary War era. It's just small towns that you go to, and that just never really appealed to me. So it's fine, but it definitely wasn't the best by any means.
I agree with playable. With each of these games, like, I can go back to a specific set piece or a time in which I was playing these games. The only thing I remember about this game, and I've said it before on a few shows, Hurricane Sandy was rolling through where I am, and my power was knocked out, but I said to my mom, I'm like, I need to get to GameStop because Assassin's Creed 3 just came out, and I had the Steelbook, and this was before the times in which you had to install your games on your console before you play them. This game, you pop in, play it. It was great. It was great times. But I do agree with you with the fact that with Assassin's Creed, you expect to be climbing buildings, doing all that fun stuff. Here, I think there was a mission where you're running through the trees, and it's like, all right, it's the dead of winter. The soldiers, I am very sure, can see this grown man climbing through the trees with no leaves.
And leaping between them.
Yeah, it's like minor details they're forgetting here. But without further ado...
Oh, real quick. Just to put an end on the Assassin's Creed 3 discussion. Also, Connor has got to be the most boring assassin we've ever seen, right? Like, Altair was just kind of basic and he was there, but he at least had a personality. Like, he was rash and he just kind of jumped into things. Connor he was not very fun to play as or see his backstory at all, in my opinion.
I'm looking at like the cover art for each of them, and I can kind of pull a personality trait out of each and every one of these people. But yeah, Assassin's Creed 3, I'm just sitting here like, what do I really remember about Connor that stood out to me? Although I do like his cowl, his getup, his is it a uniform? Cloak? Sure, his uniform, his work uniform. I like his styling here. Now, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of people. I'm not as big on this game as some are. Some people will still say this is the best Assassin's Creed game ever. I do not agree.
No.
I'm not saying it's bad by any means. At minimum, this is a B tier game.
Yeah.
It is good. But I don't put it in the same ranking as 2 in some other games. So for me, well, this game is very focused on pirates, so you do a lot of sailing. The sailing is better in this game than it was in 3, because that's where they actually introduced sailing, was in 3, and it was just not good there. It's better in Black Flag, but it's not really anything that I was like, ooh, yay, I'm going out to hunt whales. That's amazing. I'm having so much fun. No. Also, we go back to the no big structures to climb.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was like some stone monuments, but they weren't very big. And it was all because you're jumping between islands.
Yeah.
Like there's no like big buildings to climb there. You're just jumping between like little shacks. So that was kind of a down point for me. Edward Kenway is a good character. He's a good assassin. Well, he's not even really an assassin. He's just a pirate that killed an assassin and took their clothes and then was like, hey, I can kind of be an assassin for you.
Yeah.
Meeting Blackbeard was awesome.
Yeah.
That was really cool. The side characters genuinely are very good. I can't remember his second handmate's name.
He had a spinoff, right?
He had DLC for this game. I can't remember his name, but I remember thinking he was a very cool character. Yeah, I would put this at B, maybe A, but I don't know. Where do you come down on this?
This is a solid, good B, like, sets the tone for the rest of the tier. I think, like, you were alluding to this, the sailing, this is, like, the first breadcrumb where they're like, alright, this is an Assassin's Creed game with pirates. Much like I was saying about Valhalla and Odyssey, those are a Viking and Ancient Greece game, like, with the Assassin's Creed branding on it. This is where the path started to stray a little bit for me, but at the same time, too, I liked the dual pistols, talking about double blades. His overall, like, he's an assassin, but he isn't. I agree with B. I'll give it that. Also, I just liked the sea shanties. I mean,
the sea shanties were good.
Classic. I still play them. I still play them. Lever Johnny Lever. Oh,
very good. Chasing them down was a little annoying, but they were good. That also, just thinking of all that, like, made me think of the one mission where you have to go through a swamp, but it's a stealth mission with your pirate ship.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
it was
PTSD.
awful.
I failed that mission so many times.
It was not good.
Also, we talked about Edward going through the trees. A ship.
Connor.
Yeah, or Connor. A ship going through the swamp like that?
Mm-hmm. And trying to be stealthy. Yeah. No, that was an awful mission.
It was so bad. But, I guess that brings us to Ezio's next game, being Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Do I have strong opinions on this? I don't think I do.
This game is great as well. It's directly following up with Ezio. You're in Rome this time.
Rome.
You fight the Pope at the end, which is amazing. And you like actually train and get like assassin recruits, and you can like call them in to attack guards and stuff while you're like distracting them and stuff. I love this game. I would put this below 2 in the S tier. If you wanted to, I could see A, but Brotherhood is very great. It's so much fun.
This one had the first multiplayer for the series, right? There was like the cat and mouse thing.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
That mode always gets forgotten, but there were a few games in this era where they did this thing where you played as like an NPC, and you were like trying to hide among other NPCs while you had an assassin target, and someone was trying to like find you and assassinate you. It was a very unique multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
It never really took off, but they tried it for quite a few games. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind them bringing it back as like a spin-off thing. But
Now would be the time, especially if they're
right?
talking about like multiplayer and wanting the game to live on with the Unity hub. But do I want to give? Oh, this is tough for me.
I would say A is probably a
Okay.
good safe spot for it.
Yeah.
Um,
I keep
it
getting
is-
this one confused with Revelations down the line because that one was in Constantinople. I only
Yeah.
remember that because my global teacher used to talk about Constantinople for days, but that's later down the line. Any closing thoughts on Brotherhood?
I really want to replay it. It's been so long since I played it. So I haven't played it since probably like 2009. So maybe I'm just going in with just nostalgia based here. I haven't played the Ezio remaster games.
Yeah.
So maybe if I were to pick up that trilogy and play through them again, I would probably be lower on them. But just thinking back to the 360 days when I played these games originally, I remember 2 and Brotherhood being standout games.
Yeah, just off screen, I have the exact art for this, but it's signed by the whole developer team. It's crazy. I
Oh,
love
that's
that.
so cool.
I love that thing. I got a lot of Assassin's Creed stuff back there. But a game I haven't personally played here, Assassin's Creed Chronicles. Is this the side scroller? If I'm not
This
mistaken.
is a side scroller. It's like actually, there's like 3 games in this. It's like Russia, China. I can't remember the other one. I played a little bit of them and I didn't like them at all. I would put these in trash tier.
I'm right there
they-
with you.
They don't have the things that you look for in an Assassin's Creed game. They kind of tried to do something different. It just did not work.
I appreciate them trying to do something different, but much like we said in our Shadows video, when you have eras in time that people want a full, like, fledged game experience in, and you throw out that, it sours the whole experience.
Like if you think of the Russia setting, like a full Assassin's Creed game set in, I don't know, let's say Moscow, like that could be interesting.
yeah,
I don't know if it's necessarily something I want to play, but
yeah,
I don't want a side scroller
yeah, no.
Assassin's Creed game.
No, but I guess that brings us to Assassin's Creed Liberation. Did I play this?
This one I did not play, so I have no standing on where it would go.
I didn't.
I know it originally came out on the Vita, and I think they re-released it, but I've never played it.
They did. It's just, I think because it was on the Vita, I just kind of said, all right, I guess it's not for me. So D will kind of be the hybrid trash and did not play it tier, but the rest of them I've played. So, and
Okay.
you've played. So, you know what? Just for the sake of continuity, we're gonna reorder a few things here. Because I kind of want to go in timeline order ish. You know?
You need to move up Revelations, then that should be our next one.
Oh, there we go. See? Perfect. The timeline is re-secured.
Origins before Odyssey.
Now the timeline is secure. Kind of.
And Rogue with Unity. There you go.
See? This is the... We got that.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Nope, right there. Now it's good. Now it's good.
Timeline fixed. We're back.
There
We're
you
back
go.
in the Matrix. But Assassin's Creed Revelations. I love this game. I like the whole old man Ezio thing. It brought a tear to my eye watching that cinematic of him getting shot down with the arrows. I was like, dude, this is my hero. And he's going out on his shield. Granted, the ending of this game, we talked about this whole futuristic deal or the past deal, this society. This is where things started to get real squirrely for me as far as that story goes. But I'm going to say behind Brotherhood in amazing.
I'm fine with that. I was thinking ahead of Black Flag and B. So we're on the same wavelength here.
Yeah.
This is definitely, I don't want to say the lesser of the Ezio trilogy, because it's still a good game, obviously, but it didn't really like appeal to me that much. I'm with you. I love the story. I love how they put a close to Ezio's story. They didn't try and extend him any further. They gave him a trilogy, ended his story conclusively.
Yeah.
Like we know how he dies. We know his beginning as an assassin. We have the middle part, and then we have his end. And they even brought in Altair into the story. Like they connected the two. Like that was very cool at the time. This is during the Desmond era. There was really weird, like the present story was Desmond while he was in a coma, but he was still going in the past as if he was in the Animus. It very weird, and part of the reason why I just don't care about the current day story. But no, when you're in Constantinople as Ezio, it was very good. You had like a hook.
Yep. The hook blade
thing.
Yeah.
The hook blade for like going down zip lines and stuff. I always thought it was weird that they like used that as the blade still. Like he was like assassinating people with it. I was like, that's a weird thing. Yeah. I also want to say that this game had a big focus on bombs, which wasn't something I was particularly fond of.
Yeah, the gadgets, like, all that stuff.
They had a ton of different bombs for you to use, and I was just like, I'd rather have the stuff I had in the past. So yeah, no, this game's good. I where you put it, I think is pretty fair.
Yeah, if it's ever behind something in a tier, just know it's kind of bridging the gap there. But now, Assassin's Creed Rogue. I can go... Actually, I'll give it to you. I did Revelations.
This one, I'm not much of a sailing fan, and this is very focused on sailing. This game also came out on the 360 and PS3 when everyone was already moving over to the PS4 and Xbox One. This released right alongside Unity as well. I think it was the same exact day that both of these games were released.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Such a weird way to do it, because everyone was focused on Unity because they were on the new games, the new consoles and everything. They didn't bring Rogue to the new systems like until 5 years later. It was a long time before it actually made the jump to the, at the time, current gen. I never finished this game. I played through it a bit and I was just like, I'm not crazy about this. I would probably put this ahead of Assassin's Creed 1, but behind 3.
Yep. I was looking right there. This era of Rogue and Unity, talk about like the starting point of a downfall for a franchise, which is on the mend now. This is the era, because not to get too far ahead, wasn't Unity the one that was just horrible at launch? Or am I thinking of what is this one right here? Syndicate. Was Syndicate the bad one?
It's Unity.
Unity. Yep.
So we're just jumping into Unity now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a hot take out there and say that Unity is overhated. It had an awful launch. I'll give you that. It was buggy and it was everything. I got lucky and I never had the missing face bug, so I didn't have that nightmare fuel. I really like this game though. I enjoy Unity. It's set in Paris, which is a great place to climb around. Arno isn't the best assassin, but he's fine. I love the playground in this game. The world itself is so good here. You meet Napoleon Bonaparte. That was cool. Yeah, for me, I would put this in the B tier. Okay. I know some people have a very hard objection against this game because of how it launched. They really despise it. I loved this game when it came out, though. And the multiplayer was pretty good. This is where they changed it up, and it wasn't the NPC thing anymore. It was like actual 4-player missions, assassin missions that you went on, which was really cool. I wanted them to do so much more with that, but they never did because it had such a rough launch.
Yeah. So you said B tier. Is that behind Black Flag?
I would put it in front of Black Flag, but if you want to put it behind it, I'm fine with that, because I know there's such a negative perception around that game.
this is kind of like me with Cyberpunk. Everyone hated that game at launch. I didn't really encounter bugs in that game, and I enjoyed my playthrough. So I'll put it ahead of Black Flag, just for the sake of a totally unrelated IP and franchise and developer. We're gonna throw it there at a B tier.
Hey, viewer, if you're mad at us, just go ahead and go down to that comment section below. Yeah, just go ahead and do it.
Leave a
We
comment.
Just put Unity in front of Black Flag. How do you feel about that? Let us know your real thoughts.
If there was ever a thing we should clip, this is it. But we're moving on to Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I enjoyed this game. I think
Fatigue was at an all-time high with Assassin's Creed at this time, though.
Yeah.
That's very important to put in there. This is a good game. This is a potentially great game. But, oh my god, Fatigue was at such a high at this point. Like, everyone was ready for a break. At this time, Assassin's Creed had a yearly release schedule for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe.
insane.
Like it was. People were done with it.
Mhm.
They took a much needed year break after this, but I still enjoyed Syndicate a lot. Jacob and Evie were great characters. I loved them both. You were playing around London, or
Yes.
was it somewhere else in England?
I want to
Was
say
it London?
London. Yeah.
London was very good to go around. You had the grapple hook in this game,
Yes.
which was really fun to play with. I really enjoyed this game. I would put it in the B tier, probably in front of Unity,
Okay.
or maybe in the middle.
I was gonna say in the middle. I don't mind
In
it
the
as
middle.
much. Right there
Yeah.
between Black Flag and Unity.
I do think the fatigue really plays into
Yeah.
people not enjoying this game as much as they should have, because it was a very quality game.
That's the game, Syndicate, where I keep talking to fans of Assassin's Creed. They're like, yeah, I never played it at launch, but now in the current day, I went back to play it, and we're like, okay, yeah, this is good. This is what we want.
Yeah.
Now, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, this is where we made the shift to an open world RPG set in Egypt. So there's a lot of desert to run through.
Oh.
And I'm not the biggest fan of that. That being said, for what they were doing with changing the formula of Assassin's Creed here, I think they did a very good job. Bayek is a great character.
Love
His,
Bayek.
his backstory, the relationship he has with his deceased son, like there's like moments where he like sees his son and his son like talks to him and it just like tugs at your heartstrings. There was also I thought there was a really cool relationship with his wife in
Yes.
this game,
Mhm.
because you're like, oh, they're in love and everything, okay, but by the end, spoiler alert, they separate because they're like, we can't do this anymore. The death of our son was too much. We have to go our separate ways. It was a very good story,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I'm right there with you.
I remember this is also the first time that we saw an assassin lose their ring finger to the blade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that really like grossed me out the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, I don't like that at all. And he just kind of walks it off and never says anything about it.
So
But, yeah,
casual.
when he goes in and gets the assassin, he takes off his ring finger, and that's where we start with the. Well, I mean, we started in the first game because Altair was missing his, but yeah, it's very gruesome, that scene. I would put this in B tier as well,
Mm-hmm.
probably behind Syndicate.
Okay.
I don't know. Where would you put it?
I'm trying to base it. I'm trying to find a grading system in my head for this, but I'm a sucker for story and the setting, albeit barren wasteland, the desert. I like ancient Egypt. I'm into all that stuff more than pirates, so I think off that alone, I'm gonna put it right there where you said between Syndicate and Black Flag. That's the ideal location. Yeah, like that might be a thing I go back to. They had the Anubis trials. I never did those, but I think that would be fun. Where you face all the different gods, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Not all of them, but some of them. I remember
Some of
facing off against the giant snake, which was a cool boss fight. I remember that.
Yeah, I gotta go back and try that.
There was some genuinely very cool areas in that. The thing with Origins and these other games that we get into is I don't see myself ever going back to them because they're so big.
Yeah. I'm never gonna do a full playthrough, but I'll go back and hopefully if my save is still intact, I'll just try to do the challenges.
The first time you run through it is definitely great, though.
Yeah. Now, this brings us to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Albeit, I'm going to put a disclaimer and then I'll let you take this, but this is a game I didn't play right away because I was like, oh, they're churning out these... I was very I'm anti-Assassin's Creed now because they're doing this, and
A lot of people were.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not taking this, and... Grant you, I was very surprised in the time in which they churned out a game this big. Hats off to them. It's a modern marvel. But I love Cassandra.
And then they followed it up with Immortals Phoenix Rising 2 years later.
Yet games take 5 years now to make. Talk to Ubisoft. They clearly had a formula. Not a good one. But
No.
where are you putting Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
This is my personal favorite game in the series. I would put this S tier in front of Assassin's Creed 2. This is my favorite game.
Oh.
I love Cassandra. I love this ancient Greece world. The other characters in it are so good alongside Cassandra. The only bad character is Alexios.
Yeah.
The male counterpart that you can play as, or Cassandra's brother. But you got the Spear of Leonidas, and my favorite thing in this game was in every other game, assassinations had to take place when you were up close to the person, but in this game you could throw the spear for an assassination. She would teleport to it, pull it out of them, and then you could chain it and throw it to another unsuspecting victim. That was so cool. The abilities, the special powers she had was amazing. Sailing in this game I actually enjoyed because it wasn't overdone. The only time that you were in your sailboat was when you were going to a different country or landmass, island, whatever you want to call it, or you were doing a ship battle, which was fine, but it was really cool taking over ships in this game, I thought.
Oh yeah. And some of the what were they called? The society. They had a golden mask.
It's what the Templars ended up becoming.
Yeah.
Ancient something.
Ancient Order, something like that.
Ancient Order, something along those lines.
Some of those members were on ships, so you had to do the naval combat first, then get on the ship. I love that part of the game. Also taking the resources.
The gear in this game was also really good. I found the best assassination gear, which made it so much fun to go around and throw my spear into people. No, this game is amazing. I think it is the best in the series. I would definitely argue for top of the list, but where would you put it?
I would put it S tier. I enjoyed it equally. The only thing that's holding the chokehold on 2 is nostalgia. It's more or less I've played this game, Odyssey, recently, very recently, so it's fresh in my mind. Now you're making me think. You know what? I'm gonna put it is behind 2.
Okay. We'll have them as 1A and 1B.
1A, 1B. I really
they are just completely different games, even though they're in the same series, and they're both at the pinnacle for the series.
Also, I talked about things that stuck out. Fighting the Minotaur, going down into the caverns and hearing him roar, scary stuff. Scary stuff.
Absolutely.
So, things that stand out. Now this next game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I've defended this game. I grant you, as much as I defend it, I don't think of it too high on this list.
Of the current open world RPGs, I think this is the bottom.
Yeah.
Or the trilogy, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, Odyssey, Origins, and Valhalla. I can put it back of B tier.
I was thinking C tier at the front.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it is playable, but man, that world is so overinflated.
Mm-hmm.
I was very disappointed in the Viking raids. I was like, I wanted this to be so much more than it was. Ivor is a good character, and he or she has a very interesting story with Sigmund, I think his name was.
Yeah.
Their brother. And then it goes off this really weird thing where there's like this part where you play in Valhalla as the same characters, but they're called the gods themselves.
Oh, I watched a whole video on this. Apparently you're playing as one of the gods, like you're the vessel. You're the vessel or something. And apparently Basim is Loki. Talk about convoluted. It's right there.
It got very weird. And we're still going in with that because that's what Basim is. Like, he's alive still because he's Loki reincarnated. And it's just... I don't care. It's such a weird thing to do. But I do think Valhalla is good. It's just not one I really ever want to go back and play.
Yeah, and every game ahead of this one is a true... grant you behind, too. Is a true Assassin's Creed story game. Like I said earlier, Odyssey and Valhalla are just period pieces with the Assassin branding on it. Valhalla does have the Assassin, but whatever. It's fine at the top of C tier. And that leads us into our final game, being Assassin's Creed Mirage, a return to formula, in a way.
Yeah, this is the return to the original playstyle, where it's not an open world RPG, it's an open world action adventure game. If I remember right, you still could like get gear and stuff. I played this a year ago. I don't know why I can't remember like the finer details of it. I went through and I 100%ed it. I really liked this game, but I can't like remember the details of it. Where were you? You're in Baghdad, playing as Basim. His start as an assassin, and
something goes wrong.
They never really explain the Loki thing, like why he takes over, if I remember right. It just kind of happens at the end.
Yeah, they just assume. They're like, yeah, sure. We got to tie up that Valhalla plot line there.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm hunted by a demon, but it was really just Loki taking over his mind or something. I don't remember. The story wasn't great in my mind, but the gameplay was good, and I enjoyed going through the forts and everything. Just like returning back to the original Assassin's Creed gameplay was enough for me to like really enjoy this game because it'd been so long since I played it.
Yeah.
That being said, I'd probably put this at the end of B after Black Flag.
That's where I was looking. Because, again, it's back to formula. It was decent enough. Also, I think more developers should do this. It's okay to make a smaller game. Price it at a corresponding price point. More people will play it. So, Mirage, they did that here, and I'm happy they did.
I think this is also a very good like middle ground to just like keep people interested in Assassin's Creed until Shadows comes out.
Yeah.
Hopefully Shadows will be good enough that it's up there with 2 and Odyssey, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yes. I'm going to forecast. I'm going to say I'm going to put it top of A tier. I'll just put it out there. Maybe. We'll have to revisit this.
We're hoping. It looks very good, but obviously we are 5 months away from release right now.
A lot can go south between now and then. But this is our list. If you did a list, why don't you hit us up in our Discord channel? Let's compare. Let's contrast. Let's talk more Assassin's Creed. It'll all be in the video description down below. But as of right now, this is our tier system for Assassin's Creed. I've been Kalo, and I'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.